Hello guys, this is Nat Blue with a new YouTube video, and today we are going to be reviewing the updates to the board in the 2024 Player's Handbook. So I am very excited for this because this is my favorite D&D class. I love the board. I've played, I think, 3 boards now. So this is my favorite class by far, and I'm really excited. I know they have a new subclass that I'm excited to jump into. Huge fan of boards, but we're just going to hop into it because I really want to see what they've done. This is not a very long video, which is a little bit concerning, but hopefully there's some good updates here. I think this is probably one of the most well-rounded 5e classes, so it wouldn't be an issue if there's not a lot of updates here, because it is already such a great class. It's such a versatile class.
You don't play favorites, but you do love bards. Big quality of life improvements for the bard, for those checking out the new Player's Handbook, right?
The new bard has sort of the best of the 2014 bard, as well as some of the best elements of the Unearthed Arcana bard. That includes a return of the bard's dedicated spell list. We had several versions that people saw in the Unearthed Arcana series where the bard didn't have a spell list of their own and instead was leaning into other classes' spell lists. Through that process, we re-embraced the bard having their own spell list, but as we'll discuss very shortly, bards, their magical secrets ability got enhanced in important ways. That bard spell list that has returned has been beefed up thanks to new spells in this book, as well as us even taking some spells that were already in the Player's Handbook and adding them to the bard's list. And we've also given bards the flexibility that our other full spellcasters have gained with their cantrips, in that bards can now change one of their cantrips every time they level up.
I think that's a big thing for bards. There's some bard cantrips that I think just aren't very powerful at higher levels, but for low level cantrips, they're amazing. So that would be really nice to, once you get to a higher level, go to a cantrip that you think is a little bit more useful. Especially when there's cantrips that I feel like some players just get away from needing that cantrip. So, for example, I don't know if it's a bard cantrip, but like light. Later in the campaign, there might be other ways to supply light. So sometimes people get like glowing swords, like the flame tongue. I've used the flame tongue in the past to light things up. I've used the flame tongue underwater, which was great. So things like that, where it would be good for a bard to be able to switch their spell, because it's just not as useful in the campaign anymore.
When it comes to their signature non-spellcasting ability, Bardic Inspiration, bards everywhere can rejoice that Bardic Inspiration now will last for up to an hour.
Oh, that's so good too. I love Bardic Inspiration. I don't use it as often as I should, but it is so good.
The person that has it, rather than just 10 minutes, and that will make it far easier for people to have a chance to actually use their Bardic Inspiration. Because I know many people have had that experience where the bard gives the Bardic Inspiration, they forget to use it, and oh my gosh, the 10 minutes have passed.
Yeah.
Now you have a full hour before, well, before you're almost there and the bard player is reminding you.
Yeah.
Remember, you have Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah.
We also have taken the Bard's Expertise feature and made it so you get it sooner. You now get it at level 2. We have revised all of the subclasses and included an entirely brand new one, the College of Dance, but we'll get to subclasses in a minute. We've also made it, because we know how much bards love to use Bardic Inspiration, we've made it easier for you to get uses of Bardic Inspiration back in the Font of Inspiration feature by letting you simply burn spell slots to get it back.
Yeah.
Because we've all had that experience, whether we're playing bards or DMing for bards or our friends are playing bards, where sometimes the bard wants more uses of Bardic Inspiration more than they want to cast more of their spells.
Yeah.
And so recognizing that phenomenon, whether it is by observing other people's games or just playing bards in our own, that's why we wanted to give bards the flexibility to essentially exchange one of their magical resources for one of their other magical resources.
So I do like that for specific types of bards. I think that would be really useful. So all of the melee based bards, so like swords and valor, I don't know which one of them stayed in this handbook. I know one of them did. I think that would be really useful because your bardic inspiration can also be used to boost how much damage an attack does or how much you add to your attack uh, bonus. So I think that's really useful. For the spell casting bards, I don't think it's as useful, but it's nice that it's at least an option. Like I said, I don't use bardic inspiration as much as I should, especially since it's a like core class feature. So I don't think I would ever use this to get more bardic inspiration unless I was playing one of those melee classes where you can use your bardic inspiration to just make your attacks more effective.
This is similar to what we did in the Druid, where there again is that ability to do some exchanging, really all about making it so that players have even greater control over what their characters do on adventures. Now, we also took a look at the Bard's counter charm ability, and we decided, let's actually make this useful. And so the new counter charm ability is now a reaction that the Bard can use when someone around them is charmed or frightened, gives them a new roll against that effect, and when they make that new saving throw, they have advantage on it. I think this is going to make counter charm see far more use than we've seen in the last 10 years. And it helps preserve a little detail that's been a part of the Bard for decades, because Bards having a counter charm ability has been a part of the class going back to the game's earliest days. Now, at level 10, Bards still...
Okay, so I'm looking at counter charm right now because I don't remember this very well. I feel like reading over it, so at 6th level, you gain the ability to use musical notes or words of power to disrupt mind-influencing effects. As an action, you can start a performance that lasts until the end of your next turn. During that time, you and any friendly creatures within 30 feet have advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed. So it's an entire action, which means that this feature is already better because you're burning an entire action to negate something that might not happen. So people get advantage on saving throws against being frightened or charmed. You're doing a performance, which means that there's a good chance that whoever you're against knows the basics of what's happening, if they know anything about bards. And the enemy, this relies on them casting a charmed spell or a spell that will frighten you. I think that the 5e counter charm would only be good if you're running like a Feywild campaign or maybe a Shadowfell campaign where there's a chance you're going to get charmed or frightened. There's just a high chance. This new counter charm seems a lot more useful because it's a reaction and you can just toss it out there if somebody tries to charm or frighten somebody. So I like this change a lot because even when I do use Fey in my campaigns, which is a decent amount because I'm a huge fan of the Feywild, my party doesn't always know that it's a Fey creature. So like, for example, I have an Archfey that I use in a lot of my campaigns. He's a recurring NPC. He normally presents as a mortal and then tries to like trick the party into making a deal or just tries to trick the party because sometimes he's just playing a prank on them. He's a prankster kind of Archfey. So this would be good if the party, if he tries to charm one of them, the bard might not already know that he's an Archfey, but they can toss out that counter charm. So I like this change a lot. I rambled a little bit too much there. I'm very excited about this video, and I'm happy that they changed the counter charm feature.
Get magical secrets. And this is now the feature where bards get to dive into other classes' spell lists. And we've made a couple of important tweaks here. First, the bard no longer can dive into any spell list rather in the game. And we made this change for one main reason, and that is outside of the bard, the cleric, the druid, and the wizard, spell lists are highly tailored to a kind of niche identity when it comes to a class like ranger, paladin, artificer, to refer to a class not in the player's handbook. And so we wanted to make sure the bard was only looting the spell lists that are actually designed to be lootable.
Yeah.
That's also why the warlock is not here. The sorcerer is not here. It is really bard, cleric, druid, or wizard. These are the spell lists that we create to not only serve their classes, but also to be eminently lootable. And part of that is that the cleric, druid, and wizard spell lists in particular are the emblematic spell lists for the three main sources of magic. The wizard spell list is the emblematic spell list for arcane magic, the druid list for primal magic, and the cleric list for divine magic. People will see a similar change in the magic initiate feat, which also now does not allow you to dip into any spell list in the game. Instead, it is specifically these iconic spell lists that you can dip into.
I think that is a reasonable change to magical secrets because, like you said, just thematically, it wouldn't make sense if a bard can take a warlock spell or a sorcerer spell. So I think this is fine. I do think most bards are dipping into the wizard spell list anyways. I would say at most, they're taking like a healing spell from the cleric spell list or a restoration spell from the cleric spell list. But most bards are dipping in to get things like counter spell and fireball and stuff. Because I don't think most bards can learn counter spell. I might be wrong there because I normally don't get a high enough level as a bard to get counter spell. So I could be wrong there. But yeah, I think most of them are dipping into the wizard spell list anyway, so this change won't affect most people.
Now, even though that is a limitation that did not exist before, it is now paired with a greater amount of liberty. Because once now the bard...
Okay, I googled it. Most bards cannot learn counterspell. Or any bard can use magical secrets to learn counterspell, even though it's not on the bard spell list. They might be adding it to the bard spell list, but as of right now, a lot of bard players are probably taking that from the wizard spell list.
Bard reaches level 10. You may choose any of your prepared spells from these lists. So essentially, once you hit 10, you become, similar to the name of one of your early class features, a true jack of all trades. And so there is that little bit of constriction paired with a massive expansion in terms of versatility for the class. And it used to be that magical secrets gave you this versatility, but only at certain later levels. Now you can benefit from it at every level once you've received magical secrets.
Perfect.
So are they saying you can get a new spell from magical secrets every level? Because that is impressive. The bard can be a mini wizard at that point. I think that's what they're trying to say.
Perfect.
Next up, we have the revised version of Superior Inspiration.
Right.
Superior Inspiration used to be at 20th level. It's now moved down to 18th level. And it used to require you to have zeroed out your bardic inspiration uses to get any back. That's no longer the case. Now...
God, that's such cool artwork. Look at her. With the tattoos. I think I've talked about this picture before, but It looks like she has thieves tools on her belt, which is pretty cool. On the right hand side there, she has her. That might not be a loot. That might be a liar. The earrings are pretty cool. And then the fact that it looks like she might be casting like dissonant whispers or something. Her hair looks sick. I love the vibrant colors of her outfit. That's something that I do with like gnome bots, which it looks like she's probably an alpha gnome. I can't tell how tall she is, but that's something I do a lot with my gnome boards is give them super colorful outfits. So I really like this picture. That's so cool. This might be one of my favorite pictures from this edition so far.
If you have fewer than 2, you get Bardic Inspiration back when you roll initiative until you have 2. So what that means is if you have 0 and you roll initiative, you will now have 2. If you have 1, you will now have 2.
Yeah.
So that gives you some more flexibility. It also makes this feature useful in more cases, so you will not feel the pressure to completely zero out your Bardic Inspiration uses to be able to benefit from this.
Another solid change. I like that. That's pretty good.
And then we have a brand new feature at level 20 for bards called Words of Creation. What this means is now all bards will always have prepared when they reach 20th level power word heal and power word kill. A big part of the bard story is that they draw their magic from the words of creation that were uttered before time began to bring the multiverse into being, and that their magic harnesses these words in various ways, and that these words are often represented by spells like power word heal or power word kill. So we thought, let's make it so bards always have, when they reach their ultimate level, always have these spells prepared. And in addition, when a bard casts either of these spells at 20th level, they can target not just the one target the spell normally targets, they can target a second target as well. So that means the 20th level bard can power word kill 2 creatures at once, but also power word heal 2 friends at once.
That's all.
Okay, guys. First off, I didn't know that lore about the bards, about the magic coming from the power of creation. That's pretty cool. This is a cool ability. This is such a big ability. So you have it prepared at 20th level. I'm sure the bard only has like 1 spell slot that high at 20th level. I would say at the most 2, but I would say probably 1. But it gives you the opportunity to cast Power Ward Kill or Power Ward Heal on 2 targets. Power Ward Kill does an insane amount of damage. Power Ward Heal does an insane amount of healing. So pretty much at 20th level, which I think this is the power fantasy of D&D anyways, that at 20th level, the PCs are just incredibly powerful. But at 20th level, you can theoretically, if they're at low enough hit points, just kill 2 enemies. And then you could heal 2 of your allies for an incredible amount of health. So very powerful 20th level capstone. I'm very impressed by that. It just seems that's going to suck if you're a DM and you have 2 like big enemies and the bard just casts power ward kill on them. But like I said, there's some other. This is just it's a power level. Like the players want to be that powerful at 20th level. I think it was a cleric that gets the wish spell at 20th level. So I mean, this isn't a big reach. It's just that is so impressive. As a bard player, I love that. As somebody that wants a bard BBEG one day, I really like that. That's going to be. I don't want to power ward kill my players, but that is so cool. I would say it would be something I would be very willing to use on any NPC allies that they have. Just the players walk in, the BBEG casts power ward kill on 2 allies right away, drops them to 0, depending on how many hit points the allies have, and you continue on with the combat without those two allies. That would be something I would totally do to my party. So I like this a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Starting off with subclasses, it's a big deal. We've got a new bard subclass, the College of Dance.
Yes, and the College of Dance, this is a subclass we've wanted to introduce for a long time. Just because it's fun to have the dancing bard, but also this leans into an element that the bard's story text touches on in the new player's handbook, and that is the bard's magic, and even the magic that taps into the words of creation. Those words are not necessarily verbal. That communication could be by sign, it can be by dance. There are many ways that communication is accomplished in our world, and so we wanted that to be reflected in the bard as well. And so the College of Dance is all about not only this bard dancing, but also maybe even sometimes succeeding at getting their friends to dance with them. And that's particularly true in one of their later features. But starting right away in this new subclass, we have a feature called Dazzling Footwork. And this feature is really a package of multiple features that makes your performances better if they involve dancing. It gives you an unarmored armor class, because we want a dancing bard to be able to, if they want, to be dressed like a dancer, but still have a decent AC. We've also made it so that this bard, whenever they use a bonus action to confer bardic inspiration, can also make an unarmed strike. And remember, unarmed strikes aren't necessarily punches. They could be kicks or whatever else a dancer would be doing as they are leaping across the battlefield.
There are options within having an unarmed strike now that are more than just doing damage. You can push people around. You can...
Absolutely. The new unarmed strike is a package that includes 3 options: deal damage, grapple, or shove. This actually then combos with some of their later abilities, which I'll get into soon. Also, their unarmed strike deals more damage than a typical unarmed strike, because the typical unarmed strike, unless you're a monk or some other character who has an enhanced unarmed strike, typically on a hit just deals 1 damage plus your strength modifier. Not true for the College of Dance bard, who, if you decide to deal damage with your unarmed strike, you deal bludgeoning damage equal to a roll of your bardic inspiration die, plus your dexterity modifier. And this roll of your bardic inspiration die does not expend your bardic inspiration. So,
oh, that's cool. I like that. So if you use bardic inspiration, you get to make an unarmed attack. The damage is equal to the bardic inspiration die plus dexterity, which is great. I love a dex bard. I think most bards are dex bards, but that could be a decent amount of damage, especially at higher levels. Your bardic inspiration die increases as you level up, so that could be a decent amount of damage, especially if you have a high dex bard too.
So now this bard gets to use their bardic inspiration die also as a damage die for the damage that they're dealing with their very vigorous dancing.
Amazing.
Then at level 6, this is when you become very capable at trying to get your friends in on the dance, and maybe you can have your whole party do a exciting flash mob inside battle. This ability is the one where whenever an enemy ends its turn within 5 feet of you, you can take a reaction, expend a use of your bardic inspiration to move up to half your speed, and then an ally of yours can also try to do the same thing. None of this movement provokes opportunity attacks. And remember, the earlier level feature is whenever you expend bardic inspiration, whether as a part of a bonus action, action, or reaction, you can also make an unarmed strike. So that means someone comes up close to you, you use this ability, you're not only getting to move without provoking opportunity attacks, but you also get a free unarmed strike as part of the bargain. This is very energetic dancing.
Yes.
Also, and then this is where we really, at the same level, start unlocking the ability to really help your friends get in on the action, is the new tandem footwork feature. Whenever you roll initiative, you can expend one use of your Bardic Inspiration and roll it. And then you and your allies get to add that as a bonus to your initiative. So this allows your group to leap into action potentially far sooner than they normally would in a battle. Finally, the subclass with their level 14 feature, they get the evasion ability that rogues have as well as monks, but they can share it. The College of Dance Bard, because dancing is often about dancing with someone else, if you can imagine the sort of situation we often had in mind with this is the enemy spellcaster casts Fireball, and you and your buddy are within the blast. As long as you're near each other, you're not only going to benefit from your evasion ability, but you can confer it to the friend next to you as well.
That's amazing.
So this...
Okay, a couple of things. So I love the ability where you can expend your Bardic to move without an opportunity attack and in turn get an unarmed strike. That's amazing. And then I do really like the shared evasion. It seems way more powerful than the rogue one, which is fine, the rogue and the monk. I like the idea of somebody, you're trying to evade Fireball, you go over to the person beside you and you like dip them and you miss most of the flames. I love that. It's such a funny idea that like you help somebody evade by grabbing them and doing a dance. I love that. The theming of this class is really good. I'm honestly incredibly impressed. It does kind of feel like a bard monk. I didn't think I was going to like this subclass. To be completely fair, I went into this thinking, oh, the College of Dance doesn't sound like my cup of tea. But it is so cool. I like it so far.
This subclass has high mobility, speed, and also some really great interaction with their party mates.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next subclass is also new to the player's handbook,
right,
but not new to the game. So the College of Glamour first appeared in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, and not only has migrated into the player's handbook, but also has actually quite a few updates to it. The new Beguiling Magic feature that you get at level 3, this actually completely replaces the enthralling performance feature that the subclass used to have. This now makes it so that you always have the Charm Person and Mirror Image spells prepared, and from now on, whenever you cast an enchantment or an illusion spell, you can choose somebody and try to charm them or frighten them. You can do this a limited number of times per day. We did this because we really wanted to enhance our original vision for this subclass, and that is being the preeminent beguiling bard subclass. That, you know, this is the pop star bard who is just has so much presence and also fey magic that people are just bedazzled by this bard. And so that's why we've introduced this new play option with Beguiling Magic.
I love that description of College of Glamour. It would be cool to play like a stereotypical 90s rock star kind of bard by using this, or even like a like an emo or like pop punk kind of bard. I think that would be really cool. I love the College of Glamour. I've played College of Glamour before. It's amazing. So I think that's a good change with being able to frighten or charm somebody with your illusions and stuff.
We also, in the Mantle of Inspiration, have increased the amount of temporary hit points that this feature provides. And then in the Mantle of Majesty, we have made it so that you always now have the command spell prepared, which this feature relies on. And we've also now given you the ability to replace your, restore your use of this feature by expending a level 3 or higher spell slot. This is something that we've done in a number of the features in the book that we didn't do 10 years ago in the 2014 Player's Handbook, and that is giving our spellcasting classes in their subclasses sometimes this ability to burn spell slots to get their feature back. And this was a sort of design shtick that we began experimenting with a number of years ago in products like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. And we've seen people have really enjoyed having that option, and so that's why we've now included it here.
Perfect.
Then finally, in the subclasses Unbreakable Majesty, I mean, just even the name of it. When a creature hits you with an attack for the first time on the turn, the creature must succeed on a charisma save or the attack misses. This replaces the feature's original function, which was potentially causing the target, the attacker to have to target somebody else.
Right.
This turns it into more sort of a direct interaction between the attacker and the bard, where the bard can just be like, I'm too glorious for you to harm me.
I really like that. It seems like a very Fae thing to do. And the College of Glamour has a lot of Fae attributes, including some of the magic and stuff. They just have a Fae flavoring to them. And it's, oh, sorry. It seems like a very Fae thing to do, to be like, hey, you tried to hit me? I'm way too beautiful for that. You're going to miss this attack. I love that.
Do you really want to attack the Bard Pop Star?
Nice.
So we have the College of Lore and the College of Valor, the two returning subclasses from 2014, because let us not forget that in 2014, the Bard had only 2 subclasses.
Yeah.
So the Bard's number of subclasses has doubled in the new Player's Handbook, and College of Lore and College of Valor are our returning subclasses. College of Lore is in many ways, the classic Bard.
Yeah.
This is the Bard that is all about gathering stories and magic and historical information and using that to their and their friends' advantage, whereas the College of Valor is very much the warrior bard, the bard singing on the battlefield, and some cultures have called this type of bard like a skald.
Yeah.
This is the bard who is inspiring the troops in many fantasy stories. But in the College of Lore, we have revised a number of things. So for example, the Magical Discoveries ability now functions a bit more like Magical Secrets does. It's specific to the Cleric, Druid, and Wizard spell list. But you can then replace those when you level up as a bard. So you have more flexibility. You're not only getting to dip into these other classes' spell lists, but then you can swap them out as you level up if you decide that wizard spell you selected was not turning out to be as fun as you thought it would be, and you're looking over at that cleric or druid spell you'd rather have. You have increased flexibility here.
Okay, we're pausing for something ridiculous. This picture is crazy, right? Like, I love the picture, don't get me wrong. But it looks like there's 100% Itaka right there. The elf looks like she might be eating like some type of noodles. They look like Asian noodles. There's a kebab. There's sushi. There's like crepes maybe. Croissants. Shrimp. Like, this is just crazy. I've never seen this many like more modern food options in a D&D picture. This is insane. This has nothing to do with the video. I love this picture. I'm saying it's insane. I don't mean insane in a bad way. I 100% love this picture. It's just, I've never seen, there might be a cheeseburger beside those tacos on the, oh, you can't see that. There might be a cheeseburger right there where my face used to be. Is that a cheeseburger? This is just such an insane. There's 100% spaghetti on the table with meatballs in it. A Bloody Mary? Is that what that is with the green umbrella? I really need to turn my mouse on with OBS sometimes, but that green umbrella, it looks like that might be like a Bloody Mary or something. This is just an insane picture to put into this video. I love this. This is probably that one higher level spell that creates a feast, Hero's Feast. That's probably what this is supposed to be. It's just such a crazy thing to put a picture of in this video. I love that.
As a College of Lore bard. So also, cutting words, which is this bard's iconic feature, has been enhanced in a subtle but important way, and that is it now works even on creatures who are immune to the charmed condition.
Oh, nasty. Okay.
Oh, that's cool. So cutting words makes it so that the wall is not as high. I think if I'm remembering correctly, cutting words takes away from a wall, correct? Yeah, so you roll a bardic inspiration die and subtract the number rolled from the creature's wall. But it worked like a charmed thing. So the creature was immune if it can't hear you or if it's immune to being charmed. I like that they're taking that away because a lot of, like, if you're doing a campaign like a Fey campaign, a lot of Fey spellcasters are just immune to being charmed. So that's nice. I always bring it back to the Archfey and everything, like the Fey Wild itself. But I think a lot of campaigns in the Fey Wild are going to include at least one bard. So I think it's a good change.
And so used to be, particularly at higher levels, you would have that wah-wah feeling as a lore bard where you're trying to use your cutting words and it happened to be a creature that was immune to being charmed. You now don't have to worry about that.
Fantastic.
Because it really turns out, no matter what kind of creature you are, who really wants to be cut down by that sassy bard?
Okay, to be fair, it's not only the Feywild. Oh, that's a good freeze frame on Todd there. But it's not only the Feywild. Let's be honest. There's a lot of creatures, especially at high levels, like Jeremy Crawford was just saying. There's a lot of creatures that are just immune to charmed. One of my BBGs for a campaign, my current campaign, is an angel. Angels can't be charmed. I think he's a solar, technically. They can't be charmed. There's a lot of celestial beings that can't be charmed. There's some undead that can't be charmed. There's obviously the Fae. So that is a great ability. I love this freeze frame of Todd. That's really good.
That's fair.
Those words cut no matter what you are.
Yeah.
We also, in the Peerless Skill feature, have made an important improvement here. If you use your Bardic Inspiration using this feature to try to turn a failed ability or attack roll into a success, if you do not succeed at turning it into a success, your use of the Bardic Inspiration is not expended.
Oh, nice, yeah.
So this is now a feature that only gets expended if it succeeds at doing its job.
Perfect.
I like that. There's a couple of things like that. I think the battle maneuvers for the Battle Master work similarly. No, because you still do damage. There's a couple of features in D&D that don't get expended if it doesn't succeed. Oh, I think smite is one of them. If you try to smite, but the attack misses, the spell slot is not expended. So I like that change. That's great.
And we did this so that the lore bard would feel more bold about using the feature, because features like this, if they get expended, even if they do nothing, can be frustrating, and it can be very easy for a player who especially really likes shepherding their character's resources.
Yeah, you start hoarding your resources and never using it out of fear.
Exactly, and we all know that if you have an ability that you're always saving, and so you never use it, you basically don't have that ability.
Yeah.
and so we want people to feel emboldened to use their class features.
Perfect. All right, that brings us to a very popular subclass for the Bard, the College of Valor.
So the College of Valor has a major update hiding inside its extra attack feature.
Okay.
And this is the main change here, because College of Valor, super solid in 2014.
Yeah.
And what people are going to see here is largely what they saw in 2014. But a big exception to that statement, and that is in the extra attack feature, we have made it so that you can cast one of your cantrips in place of one of your extra attacks.
Oh.
So it used to be that you got extra attack, which is awesome. But what we wanted is to give you the flexibility to, through the use of that extra attack, speak to either side of your identity as a Valor Bard, whether it's your weapon use or your spell casting. And so now, similar to what you see in the Eldritch Knight, you can mix it up with your extra attack, and if you want, use a cantrip in place of one of those attacks.
I love that. So personally, I put up the cantrip list. That's why I looked away for a moment. Personally, I think there's a couple of big options here. The one I would probably go with most would be either True Strike, which I think might be getting changed to a bonus action, so that wouldn't be necessary. I think a big one here is Vicious Mockery. So you can attack, you can hit with the force attack, cast Vicious Mockery. If it succeeds, it takes some psychic damage. But the bigger part of Vicious Mockery is it imposes disadvantage on the next attack roll that it makes before the end of its next turn. So you hit with your sword first, you cast Vicious Mockery, it succeeds, the target takes a little bit of psychic damage. It's 1d4 at 5th level, it's 2d4, 3d4 at 11th, 4d4 at 17th. But it takes that little bit of psychic damage. And then on its next turn, when it goes to attack you, because at this point you're probably the closest enemy to this creature, it just has disadvantage on that attack roll, which is great. Disadvantage is always good when the enemy has it. So I think giving that flexibility of casting a cantrip, unless they change Vicious Mockery to a spell, which I doubt they will, because if it doesn't succeed, nothing happens. I think that would be a very good cantrip option to do as your second attack. I think that's a great change right there. I've always wondered why people can't cast cantrips as second attacks. I can understand leveled spells, but cantrips are not as powerful, so I feel like it should be an option anyways to cast a cantrip as your second attack for like the magical classes.
And so that will give you a lot more tactical versatility than you had before.
And again, speaks again to that wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
If you are playing this type of Bard, you want to be mixing magic and sword and sorcery.
And along that same theme, the other change worth noting inside the College of Valor is that they can now use simple and martial weapons as spell casting focuses for their Bard spells.
Yeah.
So what that now means is they don't have to worry about what's in their hands or not, because they can channel their magic through their weapons themselves, which is why in the art for this subclass we show this Bard with a shield and a blade, and given how this subclass works, this Bard can cast their spell through the blade that they're wielding.
I love that. Oh, I paused it at the perfect time because they're about to tell us that the core rulebooks can be pre-ordered through D&D Beyond. I love that you can use your sword as a spellcasting focus now. My biggest issue with a Bard, and it's my favorite class, so this isn't a huge issue, obviously. My biggest issue with a Bard is that sometimes I don't want to have an instrument. in my hand. And I think the College of Law helps with that a little bit because you can have like a book as a spellcasting bonus. But most of the time, you have to have like an instrument. I've played some bards that didn't use instruments. I played a bard that they were like a storyteller. They used to be uh, they used to work in a theater. So it was like Shakespearean bard, pretty much. And then I've played a bard that used to be a magician. So a lot of the spell casting was like card tricks and stuff. So I think that there should be a little bit of flexibility there. I like that the College of Valor is now letting you use your sword as the spell casting bonus because it just makes sense. I will say I was insanely excited for this video, and I think it went better than I expected it to. The College of Dance sounds amazing. I'm going to have to play College of Dance bard. I don't think there's a subclass in this that I'm not excited to get the chance to play. College of Law has some good enhancements with cutting words getting better, and then having pretty much another magical secrets, which is great. Magical secrets got a big enhancement in this one to me because it just makes more sense than the way it worked in 5e. And like I said, I'm taking magical secrets to get counterspell anyways. And then the College of Valor got some good enhancements with the sword being able to be the spell casting bonus, you being able to cast a cantrip as your second attack. Just amazing features there. College of Glamour really leans into the glamorous side of it. So like you can decide somebody doesn't hit you kind of thing because you pretty much glamour them. You kind of charm them, but I don't think mechanically you charm them. Just some really cool stuff for the board. I didn't think there was going to be that many changes. This wasn't a very long video. It was 26 minutes and 2 seconds. With a minute of that pretty much being the promotional stuff at the end. So like the core Woo Books bundle, the oh, there is some talking at the end. What is this?
Video description.
Thank you so much for watching. We have a ton of video content coming out.
Okay, nothing that I care about. Just saying that they have video content coming out. But overall, I'm super excited. Like I said, this is my favorite class. I was worried that they were going to not be as fun as they were in 5e, that they were going to overcomplicate the board or something. But overall, I think these are all very good changes for the class. I'm very excited to play a bard in this edition. I don't see any bad things they did here. If you see a bad thing they did here, please leave a comment because I'm curious if I'm just missing something. I might be missing something just out of the excitement of this video because I've been waiting for this one to come out and they did it. I think this is either the last video or the second to last. So they waited so long for this to release. This might be the second to last. Because I think there might be one. No? I don't know. This might be the last class video that they're doing. So I cannot believe they waited so long to give me the bard video. But this is probably the one I was most excited for. You can probably tell because I feel like I'm a little bit more energetic in this video because I was really looking forward to this. I think that Wizards of the Coast did a good job with these changes, which I'm excited about. Okay, enough rambling because I feel like that's what half of this video has been. This video is twice as long as the YouTube video is, so I'm sorry about that. Just as a couple of things, I will be working on some bard subclasses soon. I've already almost made one. I need to figure out if I need to change anything for this new edition because I would like it to be compatible with 5e and whatever they're calling this. I think it's like 5.5 maybe at this point. So I want to make sure it's compatible with both. But I'm making 2 bard subclasses soon. One of them I am working on with my friend Joe. He plays D&D with me a lot. The other one I've already written out. I'm just trying to get some feedback from people. So I will be very excited to reveal those, hopefully sooner rather than later. I want to see if I can find an artist that would be interested in helping me with some artwork for this kind of stuff. If you did like this video, please leave a like. Every like is appreciated. I love seeing the likes on the video. I hate seeing the dislikes, but that's a different conversation for a different day. If you do dislike the video and you want to leave some feedback in the comment section for me, please do. I like to find out how to improve. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more of these videos. I'm trying to release as Dungeons and Dragons releases new YouTube videos, but I'm about a week behind. So I'm probably going to be posting some content on the weekends, which I have not been doing very often recently. So I'll be scheduling some of these videos for like a Saturday or Sunday, just to kind of keep caught up. Hit the notification bell if you want to see these videos as they are released. Like I said, I'm trying to release consistently. Otherwise, I'm only really posting Elden Ring videos right now until I finish Elden Ring. Then I will be going back to some of the other games I've played on the channel. So other than that, I hope everybody enjoyed this video. It was a little bit of a long video, and like I said, I apologize for that. And until next time, peace.